Hey guys, it's Shelby from Big Cat Creative here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about everything you need to do before you hit publish on your Squarespace website. This is our ultimate website pre-launch checklist. We see it all the time, beautiful websites that go live just a little bit too soon. They have broken links, their SEO is out the window, their forms don't work, their images slow everything down, and these are all things that can have a pretty big impact on your site visitors' experience. But they're also really easily fixed and avoided if you just take a little bit of extra time to go through this checklist and cross everything off, make sure that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. I promise it's going to be worth it in the end. So take a quick breather, step away from the launch button for now, and let's go through our step-by-step final launch checklist. We'll kick things off with some various SEO settings, which are non-negotiables if you want your site to actually show up in search results and not just live out there in the void. First, let's add your site title, which is actually a surprisingly easy one to miss, especially if you've started with a template. But it's really crucial not only to let Google know what your site is about, but also to make sure that your site is truly yours and has its own personality, since your site title is going to appear up here in the browser in everybody's window. So if somebody has a bunch of different browser tabs open in their window, you want them to be able to see exactly which one is yours and have a clear description of it rather than have some vague name that they don't remember opening. And yes, you do still need to do this even if you have uploaded a logo. So let's walk through it now. First, you're going to want to enter into editing mode in your website and then hover over your header navigation and click on Edit Site Header. From here, hover over either the title of your site or the logo that you've uploaded, and then double click to access its settings panel. And here at the very top is where you can input your unique site title. You'll definitely want to include your business or brand name in your site title, but you can also get a little bit more specific if you want to help even more with SEO. For example, if you were a wedding photographer, you might put your business name and then dash wedding photographer in California or something along those lines. And if you do add a little bit of an extra description, make sure to still keep it pretty short and concise so that your site title doesn't get cut off in search results. Next, let's move on to SEO descriptions and alt text. So just like your site title, adding SEO descriptions and alt text to your website makes it so much easier for search engines to know what your site is all about, and that can help majorly improve your rankings. The great thing is that Squarespace has recently released a whole new SEO/AIO dashboard, which makes managing this so much easier, and you can access it directly from the main sidebar of your website. So there's no third-party platforms that you have to connect or anything extra that you need to do to get these SEO features. So to access that new dashboard under website, just go ahead and click right on SEO/AIO. In this dashboard, you'll be given a score for your SEO, which is really handy if you need some hints on where to improve. And if you click this optimize button in the top right-hand corner, Squarespace's own AI system is going to generate some possible descriptions and alt text for your website. So you'll see if I just scroll through this page here that they have generated a page description for each of the pages that I currently have on this website. So freebie page, portfolio, blog, and so on. And while this is a massive time saver, Squarespace's AI probably isn't going to know your business as well as you do. So if these auto-generated descriptions aren't quite right on the first try, you can go ahead and click regenerate to have them take another stab at it, or you can click on edit to just create your own custom description. And then once you've gone through all of these page descriptions and are happy with the end result, you can go ahead and click on next, and Squarespace AI is then going to generate alt text descriptions for all of the images on your website. This again is going to give search engines a whole lot more context regarding what your site is all about, and it also greatly improves accessibility by allowing screen readers to describe images for visitors who might be visually impaired. So this is a really great feature. And just like the previous page descriptions, you can click regenerate for any of these alt text descriptions descriptions if you want them to take another try, or you can click on edit to just type in your own description. And then once you're happy with all of your alt text descriptions, just go ahead and click on save. And just a quick note that the AI tool is only going to optimize a max of 50 images at a time. So if you have a ton of images on your website that far exceeds 50, you can just click the optimize button again and run that tool as many times as you need, and you'll watch your SEO score go up and up as you do that. Now that you've taken care of your page descriptions, you want to also make sure to add a site description, which you can do in this same SEO/AIO panel by scrolling down to this Tools to Manage Your Optimization section and clicking on Search Appearance. In this pop-up panel under the Home tab, you'll then be able to add your SEO site description. And this is the main description for your entire website, so you want it to encompass everything about your business. It's a short summary that's going to appear underneath your site title in Google search results, so make sure that it's clear, keyword friendly, and attractive enough to make people want to click it. And this is a little example right here of what your site title, your domain, and your site description will look like in a Google search. Once that's all taken care of, you'll want to move on to optimizing your URLs, aka your page links, which are another place that Google actually gets information from. That means that having a crazy auto-generated slug at the end of your URL that's a bunch of numbers or confusing words is definitely not going to rank as well as something with a clean, keyword-friendly, and professional-looking URL. You want it to clearly describe what the page is about and let Google understand your site structure. For example, /about or /website design, simple, to the point, and very clear. You can customize the URL slugs for each page on your website individually by heading into your Pages panel, which you can do by clicking on Pages in the left-hand sidebar, and then hovering over whichever page you want to customize and clicking on the little cog icon to the right to open up this settings panel. Then under the General tab, you can navigate down to where it says URL slug and customize that slug right here. Also, another quick note about URL slugs, if you want it to be more than one word, you can't add spaces. So if you tried to add a space, it would just combine it into one word. So another really great option is to add a dash in between each word that you want to include in that slug. Next, let's talk about optimizing your images, starting with naming them. So we've already talked about adding alt text to every image, but another important way to provide information is to make sure that each image that you upload has been renamed appropriately. And don't worry, if you haven't already renamed your images, you don't have to re-upload every single one because you can rename them directly within Squarespace by entering into editing mode, navigating to any image on your page, and double-clicking to open up its settings panel. And then if you scroll down a little bit under alternate file name, you can go ahead and rename that image. You'll want to make your file names as descriptive as possible so you can add in your business name and any other relevant information about your business or that particular image. Image size is also super important because Google prioritizes websites that load fast. And since larger images can really slow down your site, making sure that all of your images are compressed appropriately before you upload them is a really important step. We love using compressor sites like compressjpg.com or tinypng.com. All you have to do is drag and drop your images into their system, and it will automatically compress them for you. And you ideally want to keep your images below 500 KB to make them as optimal as possible for Squarespace. This is a step that you have to take prior to uploading all of your images into Squarespace. So if you need to go back and get that done, it's going to take just a little bit of extra time, but I promise it's worth it and you will be happy that you've done it in the end. Okay, now let's walk through some of the design settings that can take your website quickly from DIY to pro. First, you'll want to add a browser icon. By default, all Squarespace sites have this little generic black box as the favicon, but you want your website to stand out and have its own unique personality. And a really easy way to do that is to add your own custom icon. To do that, go ahead and click / on your keyboard and type in favicon. Click on the favicon option that comes up and it will take you directly into the favicon panel. And then from here, you can go ahead and click the plus icon to upload your favicon from your computer, or you can just go ahead and drag and drop it directly in there. Click save once it's done uploading, and your new custom favicon will automatically populate into your browser. It might take a couple of minutes to register, so if you don't see it right away, just click out, refresh your website a little bit, wait a few minutes, and it should show up right up here in your browser tab. We also have a full step-by-step tutorial on uploading your own custom browser icon, so if you're interested in that, it will be linked in the description below. Next, let's talk about setting up a custom 404 page, which might look something similar to this. We definitely recommend checking all of your links consistently to make sure that they're always working. But in the event that you might accidentally forget one or miss something, that might result in a broken link, which in turn will take people to an error page. And so you might as well quickly set up a custom 404 error page that will keep people browsing on your site rather than feeling confused or disappointed and clicking away. Something custom like this is a lot more likely to keep people intrigued rather than something that looks like a mistake or like they've done something wrong and they're just going to go ahead and leave. Creating this custom 404 page is super easy. Just navigate to your Pages panel, and then in your Not Linked section, click the plus sign to add a new page, and then add a new blank page. You can then title this page something like 404 page or custom 404 page and customize it to fit your needs. You can give it a headline like, "Oops, sorry, this page no longer exists," or "Looks like you're lost," and then give them alternatives to things that they might be interested in. So links to your homepage, your contact page, or other pages on your website that are important. This is also a great opportunity to add something like a contact form or a newsletter sign up so that people can always get in touch with you and stay up to date with your business, even if they end up on a page that doesn't actually work. Once you're happy with the customization of your 404 page, you can then scroll to the very bottom of your Pages panel, click on System Pages, and then 404 page, and this is how you're actually going to implement that custom 404 page. All you need to do is click on the drop down here, find your custom 404 page in the menu, and it's then going to go ahead and pull that in as your error message rather than the default. And then just click save and you're all set. Now let's take a turn into some legal stuff. I know this stuff is not exactly the most exciting, but you definitely need to make sure that your website and your site visitors are protected. The first way that you can do this is by getting a privacy policy. Having a privacy policy on your website is actually legally a must. You can hire a lawyer to write one for you, or you can use a template. There are some really affordable options out there. There are also a lot of generators and template sites available these days that you can find, though you do want to make sure that you're covered for your particular country and your type of business, as well as ensuring that your site policy is GDPR compliant. We also have a full blog post all about your privacy policy and terms and conditions for your Squarespace website. If you're interested in that, that will be linked in the description below as well. Another must for making sure that your website is fully compliant legally is to enable your cookie banner. To do this, click the slash on your keyboard and type in cookies, and make sure to click on the cookies and data privacy option, which will take you directly into your cookies panel. You can then simply toggle on your cookie banner and customize things further from there. And again, we do have a full step-by-step tutorial on customizing your cookie banner. So if you want to go more in depth on all of these different options, be sure to check that out. It will be linked in the description below. All right, we are almost at the end, but there are just a few more important things that you should do before you officially hit launch. One of those things is going to be to proofread and spell check everything. Honestly, nothing says unprofessional like a massive typo right there on your homepage. So it's super important that you read over your whole site more than once to make sure that you have everything exactly right. And even better, you can get someone else to look over it because sometimes it can be hard to see your own mistakes. You should also go through and check all of your links to make sure that they lead to the page that you want them to lead to. You should also check your main navigation as well as your footer navigation, any buttons that you have on your website, and text links to make sure that everything's working correctly and that nothing is going to confuse your visitors or lead them to the wrong place. You should also make sure to view your website on a mobile device. As I'm sure you know, Squarespace websites change when being viewed on different screen sizes. So it's good to check these just in case there are any problems. You can do this directly in Squarespace by clicking on the mobile view icon in the top right-hand corner of your screen and then scrolling through what your mobile view should look like here. But it's also probably a good idea to just hop on your smartphone and take a look at things there as well, just to make sure that things are staying consistent on any screen size. We have lots of different blog posts and tutorials about editing your site for mobile, so be sure to check all of those out, which will be linked either in the description below or in the blog post that accompanies this video. Another thing you can do is test your contact forms or newsletter blocks. You can send yourself a message through one of your contact forms to make sure that you get everything okay. You can also try subscribing to your own newsletter to make sure that all of the information is included and that all of the steps work the way that they're supposed to work. Basically, just test anything and everything that a client or a site visitor might be using themselves to make sure that it's functioning properly. If you have a shop on your Squarespace site, it's also really important to make sure that that is up and running correctly and ready to take payments. And you can actually do a test purchase in Squarespace by clicking on your / key and typing in test mode and then clicking on store test mode. And then from this panel, you can go ahead and enable test mode here, which will allow you to go into your shop and make a fake purchase. And then once you're done doing that and you know that everything is running appropriately, make sure that you disable this option before launching your shop. And if you're not using Squarespace for your shop, but you are linking out to a different platform, it's still a good idea to run a test just to make sure that things are working the way that they should be. You can try reducing the price of your product to something like $1 and then doing a quick test purchase to make sure that all is well. And that is the entire pre-launch checklist. So if you've made it through, you are now officially ready to make your website live. The first thing that you can do before launching your site is subscribing to a Squarespace plan. There are several tiers to choose from, so make sure to check out the breakdown for each one to see which will best fit your needs. And then when you're ready, you can either click subscribe anywhere that it says subscribe on your website, or you can click the / key on your keyboard and type in billing. And that will take you to the billing panel where you can then go ahead and click subscriptions. It will tell you whether or not you have any active subscriptions already. And if you don't, you can click where it says trial subscriptions and then click subscribe here to choose a plan and subscribe. Next, you'll want to connect your domain, which you can do by clicking again the / on your keyboard and typing in domain, clicking on domains and email, and then clicking where it says domains. And here you have two options. If you already own a domain, you can click on use a domain I own and then follow the steps to connect that. And if you don't have one yet, you can click on get a domain, which is going to allow you to purchase one directly through Squarespace. That's a super easy option and allows you to keep everything in one place. So if you don't already have a domain, we definitely recommend doing that. All right, and then once you have subscribed to your Squarespace plan and connected your domain, you can go ahead and set your website officially live. To do that, click the / on your keyboard and type in site availability. And once you've subscribed to a Squarespace plan, you'll be able to click on the public option right here. And that's all you have to do. Your website will officially then be live and ready to take on the world. I hope this pre-launch checklist was helpful for you, and if you have followed along with every step, you can now rest easy knowing that your site is out in the world at its very best and ready to drive those conversions. If you did enjoy this video and would like more similar to this, please be sure to follow along and subscribe. We post videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.